we'd had a few turnovers that were maybe 2-on-1s or 3-on-1s that we threw out of bounds. And so we just didn't have a good rhythm and flow, which is typical early in the season. We were happy with almost all of our looks. John L. Davis had a couple that he normally makes, and they just didn't go in. And we try to take a lot of pride in when we're making shots that's just going to determine the margin of victory. And we have to win with our defense and our rebounding. And I think our guys have a lot of confidence in those two areas.
How did it feel to just get this first one out of the way? I mean, with all the expectations coming into the season?
Me personally, I can't speak for all of our guys, just to put closure on last year. It was a special season, but as a coach, as a program, and as a group of players still chasing their individual goals and dreams, it was nice just to move on to the next chapter and see what this team can become. I'd even made a comment that being early November, we're not a very good basketball team right now, much like we weren't a very good basketball team last November. And I had people slide in my DMs, so I'll make sure I don't say that anymore. But, we're not a finished product. We're going to take a lot of pride in growing and developing and becoming even more of a cohesive unit over the next 4 or 5 months, hopefully.
How do you feel about your guys' approach this offseason? I know it's always made everyone wanted to come back, everyone was bought in, but can you speak to how they have changed all the expectations and all the outside noise on summer and fall?
The thing with our guys, even though we all naturally change, just it's 6 months of time and we're all being told how great we are and everyone's patting us on the back, and justifiably so, our guys earned that. But as long as it doesn't impact how you interact with your teammates, your level of personal ambition versus team ambition, and also your daily work and your habits and the work capacity you have. And that's one thing that I stayed very confident throughout the offseason that we could put together a really good season because of how our guys worked on a daily basis. Now, obviously, a lot has to go right. You have to stay healthy, this and that. But our guys worked even harder than they did the year before, and that gives you a chance.
Were you able to pick your Bruce brain at all on just that going from that surprising Final Four run to now, what it's like the next season, having that kind of that target on your back?
Not that specifically, but we had a chance to visit before the game, and I have a lot of respect for their program. I was actually on the Florida team that was, I believe, ranked in the top 5 in the country when the Krutwig Ramblers came in and beat us in Gainesville right after we played really good basketball in the PK80 in Portland, if my memory serves correct. And so that was kind of their defining moment, much like ours was last year at Florida, where it just, more than anything else, just gives you confidence that you can compete with an SEC school on the road and find a way to win. But their program, they're going to sustain success. I like their team. I think they're going to win a lot of games. Obviously, add some new pieces. You're never going to be as cohesive in November as you're going to be in January, but I think they have a real shot. They're physical, they're tough, they're competitive, they're skilled, and they have veteran guards, which, night in, night out gives you a real shot.
Can you take me through a little bit how you guys were able to piece together this schedule? Obviously, one of the big challenges still ahead, but I know you guys have a lot of work to do this spring to pull that off. Can you just take me through that now?
To be honest, it was the easiest scheduling year we've had, other than year one when everyone said yes. They said yes before we told them the date or the logistics. We felt that we've been trying to get into these things. And when I say these things, classics, tournaments, things that have put us in the national spotlight, we've been trying for 5 years, and we hadn't done enough to be considered or to get it done. And you have to win, and you have to have guys that represent your university like our guys do with the competitive spirit, and they have to be fun to watch. And so when we started getting invited to things like this, we said yes, as long as we could make it work. If it was functionally possible, we said yes to everything. And we knew it was a risk. It's obviously going to be very, very difficult to night in, night out go through the schedule that we're going to do. But we felt like with the team we had coming back, it would keep us motivated, challenged throughout. And fortunately, we got off to a good start and passed the first test. Now we got about 30, hopefully 30 plus left.
What's your message being coach? Obviously, you want the players to remember how great last year was, but your guys' goal would be to win the last game of the season. So what's been your message to keep them hungry, keep them in the zone, and say, yeah, last year was awesome, but we have bigger ambitions this year too?
Well, all spring and all summer, things went a little too smooth. And we'd hit some adversity recently, some friction in practice where guys, I think we're tired of banging against each other. And guys want to, they want to move up in the rotation. They want more minutes, and justifiably so. We wouldn't want guys that didn't want more. And so we hit a little bit of friction, and taking a step back, it almost seemed like we expected to be playing in March, late March fashion in October, and that's unrealistic. Each team is different. We've got another mountain to climb. We're down in the very, very bottom right now. In the goalie, we've taken one step, and tomorrow we need to take another step again. But for the most part, I thought the spring and summer went too smooth, and then we hit adversity, and thankfully we did, because we haven't played well in our two scrimmages. Now, we had some guys out, but we hadn't played good basketball yet. And to be honest, offensively, we still didn't play anywhere near our potential today. But luckily, our competitive spirit allowed us to get the win.
Coach, you guys won the turnover battle, and you dominated in points off turnovers, 27-7. What was working for you guys defensively and in transition?
Overall, our activity, our communication, I thought our switches were very physical, and we had good ball pressure. I thought our bigs did an excellent job of either being all the way up in pressure or dropping way back and clogging up the paint. I thought they prevented maybe 5 or 10 layups. Loyola runs really good stuff. They're going to score a lot of points. They're efficient. But I do think our bigs and then our physical athletes switching on the screens did disrupt their timing a little bit, force them to be playmakers.
What do you think of Weatherspoon's performance tonight? Went 3 or 4 from 3 after shooting 33% from 3 last year.
I thought he was incredible on both sides of the basketball. He's such an energizer for us, and when the shots go in, it's icing on the cake. He's a much better percentage than that 3-point than 33% last year, but when he's making shots and get down transition, then like I said, he had so many winning traits to our team. But I thought he started the runs in both halves. Obviously, Vlad with his double-double in 21 minutes or whatever is going to steal a lot of the headlines. But I thought Weatherspoon really ignited us in both halves.
Coach, albeit technically a neutral site game, you guys never trailed in this game. Loyola Chicago had a student section here, a band. Do you kind of attribute that to the experience that you guys bring back? I mean, it was basically a road game. Can you talk about kind of the experience here in the Barstool Invitational, kind of the Loyola Chicago crowd?
I thought the crowd was great. The people here, Gazelle Group and Barstool Invitational, put together a great event. I guess with us, the question of us never trailing is a testament to our guys. They got off to a good start. They never got complacent. We have a lot of weapons too. So I thought guys, when we did cramp or when we went out, I thought the guys came in and played equally as well off the bench and brought positive contributions.
Was that a cramp for Nick Boyd?
It was, yes. We had a couple guys cramp early.
Thank you.
We will open up for Zoom questions. Tim, go ahead.
Hey, Dusty.
Hey, Tim.
Dusty, congrats. Two things, if I might. One, can you speak to the luxury of having a guy like Vlad who you're probably not going to call 10 plays for all year, and he's one of those guys that doesn't need stuff really called for him? And secondly, there was a couple of times in the second half where I thought you could have called time, and it seemed like you made the conscious decision to let guys play through the little mini runs that Loyola Chicago was having. What do you think they learned from those little stretches? Thank you.
Well, we don't have all of our special situations in that we're going to have where by 3 or 4 games from now, we're going to have everything in where we're not going to be honest, I went into the game going to hoard a timeout or two in case things got rocky late with press. So there's one point in the game I just felt like we weren't rattled. We got great looks and didn't convert, and then they turned it into baskets at the other end. But I don't think our guys ever get shook. Just have a lot of confidence that they're going to stay the course, and it's a game of runs. We always have a spurt in us. And so, to answer your question, we had a lot of confidence that our guys will be able to answer the run without a timeout.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win. Obviously had some ups and downs with the rust showcased in this opener. How would you evaluate how the team managed to shake off the rust and just take complete momentum of this game?
Well, the things that we stress that are very important to us, I thought our guys did a great job. Our execution wasn't pretty at times. We made some defensive mistakes, but I thought the guys on the court covered for each other so well that even when we made mistakes, our effort was so great that we were able to overcome it because they were so connected on the defensive end.
Coach, so Vlad Golden had 19 points, 10 rebounds. He tied his career high in points. So what do you have to say about Vlad's performance in tonight's game?
Well, we need to find a way to get him some more touches, and they were double teaming him. So I thought once, like all of our guys, when there's two guys on the ball, they pass it, and then we play out of closeouts and trust each other. I thought he did that, but defensively, he allows us to play how we play. We're able to play small, quick, fast, and switch, and know that if we make mistakes, he's 9 times out of 10, he erases the mistakes and covers for our guys. So he's a big reason why when we're playing well on either side of the ball, he's a big reason why. And offensively, the screens, the attention he garners down low gives everyone extra space and longer closeouts.
Coach, Brandon Weatherspoon made some pretty good contributions in the starting lineup with Elijah Martin coming off the bench, Weatherspoon having 12 points, including 3 3-pointers from long range. How much has his ability to become a perimeter threat improved throughout these past few years?
You're speaking of Weatherspoon?
Yes.
His first year, obviously for a first year player at Division I level, coming from junior college, was up and down, and then he stayed the course, and we wouldn't have made it where we made it last year without Spoon. And he's going to have a lot of say in how good we are moving forward, because he brings a lot to the table that's not written about or talked about.
Coach, he had you talked about being a little tight in shooting in recent scrimmages and whatnot, and you were kind of a little maybe tight and choppy in the early going. It looked on TV that as soon as Brandon hit those 3-pointers 30 seconds apart, both of them were generated by your offense. It looked like everybody kind of exhaled, and you looked more like yourselves after that.
Yeah, that was probably the only area that we as a staff were a little bit disappointed, that we felt like at times our defense, the defensive energy and intensity dropped off because we stopped making open shots, and we were getting great looks, and we were probably even overpassing and whatnot. But that was the only downside defensively, was we were fouled we had some unnecessary fouls early in halves, which pushed in a bonus later in halves. But just the fact that we let up intensity wise when we weren't making shots.
Yeah. You also, was it a game dictation that you didn't go deeper into a rotation? You didn't get some of the other younger guys in there? Were you maybe thinking of maybe doing that, and just the circumstances didn't present themselves?
Yeah, it was tough to get. We went with Brendan tonight, and we have a couple guys that are going to see significant minutes for us that didn't play tonight. But it was hard to take out Weatherspoon and Golden and those guys, and obviously John L. Davis and Nick Boyd and those guys have shown time and time again that they're able to produce in these moments. So we've got to find a way to get them more game reps and get them some experience. But without a doubt, we're going to lean on some of those young guys to help us win throughout the season.
Coach, in the beginning of the second half, Loyola Chicago went on an 11-0 run, and I believe it was you guys who called a timeout. What was said in that timeout to get you guys back on track and ended up winning that game?
I wish I could say there was something that was spoken in a timeout to get us back on track. We probably just took a deep breath, refocused on what was really important, and that was being disruptive defensively, playing through our strengths offensively, just getting it moving and taking advantage of them, what they were trying to do on the defensive end. But there wasn't anything that was, I think it's just more our guys just refocus, regroup, and let's get back after, because at the end of the day, they're going out and trusting the habits that they've developed and playing in the flow. So I don't remember anything specific that timeout, but I do remember looking and letting the guys know that whatever we were up 7 or 9, that if whatever amount of time was left, we'd be very happy if you told us before the game, because we know that 8 minutes left in almost every game we're usually able to make a run.
That's the last question for Coach Dusty. Vlad will be available.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.